So we will call the meeting to order at 7:05 p.m. There is no one on in the public that I can see, but I will pause and make sure about that. Is anyone on for public comment? Nope. So we'll turn it over for general department updates.
Yeah. Thank you very much. I don't have a ton to report since we met last. Things have been going well. I have some program updates, but they're gonna blend together between program updates and just general department updates. We have very exciting news, and this is a little bit later on the agenda, but I'll kind of dive right in. Christina actually got into a very competitive director's school, National Rock and Park Association Director's School. So that was a big update for us. She's going to be going to Cincinnati in March. She's one of 40 people. I forget how many hundreds applied, but we're very excited for her. So it's a program run. It's a 2-year program run through the National Park and Rec Association. Tim actually went to it a number of years ago, I believe, but we're very excited for her. She's going to be going to that in March. As well, we have our state conference registration just opened up in March. We're going to be moving to Springfield, so that'll be exciting in March as well. We've been busy with summer camp planning. Christina is going to be out for December and January. So we're going to be down to just me and Lisa Novello, our admin assistant extraordinaire. We're going to be holding the fort down for December and January. We're actually going to be going to the personnel board I think in the next week or two to ask for a little bit of a permission to bump her hours during that 2-month period. With Denise being out for December and January, and we have 2 part-time rec admin positions. Lisa's one, Denise is the other. Denise is taking the winter off to do some traveling and stuff and spend time with the family. So this is going to enable us to give Lisa a few more hours just to help out in the office when we're down that person. So we're excited for that. We do have some, some program updates. If is it okay if I share my screen?
Actually, can I just ask a couple of questions? Obviously, first of all, that's awesome for Christina. So hopefully we can all congratulate her. As far as the winter extra hours go, if Denise isn't using up those hours and we're just using them elsewhere, what's the permission from personnel for? Is it for like time and a half, or because I would think if we have the hours, what do you need permission to do?
It's a great question. So Lisa's approved to work up to 20 hours. That's all she can work. Obviously,
contractually.
So
okay.
yeah, so in our agreement with the town, it's only up to 20 hours. We really can't go north of there. We can go north of there for 2 pay periods with approval. So basically, what we're going for there to do is ask for, and again, it hasn't happened yet. Obviously, I wanted to run it by you guys as well. Her to be able to go up to 30 hours for 2 pay periods, which could be the month of December and maybe into January with 2 holidays, the holiday in there. So I just wanted to keep everybody in the loop with that as well.
Do you need us to take a position or take a vote or anything?
I don't think we need to take a vote, but I could be wrong. I mean, Don, what do you think? I'm not quite sure. It's a personnel thing. I know you've given me hiring authority, but I don't know if that includes personnel board stuff.
This seems to be a very narrow question. I do not have the answer to it.
Yeah.
Who is the agreement that she can only work 20 hours like contracted with? Is that with the town itself or like who?
The town itself. So her agreement when she came on.
Did someone have to approve that agreement? Like did personnel board approve the agreement or was it a standard agreement or is there?
I think personnel board approved the original agreement. I'm just guessing.
Then my guess is that you would need to have them effectively add an amendment to allow for, a temporary increase in the hours. That'd be my legal opinion.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, obviously, you have our support if you get any pushback or you sense that you're going to get any pushback, but I wouldn't think you would. So
yeah, I've tried to copy Kristen, you on some of those stuff, and then when I brought up to Vanessa, obviously she's the staff member that's on the personnel board and goes to those meetings. She didn't tell me that we needed approval from the commission, but I just want to make sure you're in the know. That's all.
Okay. Thank you.
No worries. Yeah, we have our house decorating competition we had 15 houses last year. We're only down to a couple this year, which is a little bit of a bummer. I think
Oh,
Thanksgiving, I know, total bummer. We're the fun stuff. We're down to only a handful, so we're going to try to pump that as much as we can and get that out there.
There's so many
Uh,
good houses in town. I'm
there are
surprised.
so many good houses, so we gotta. If you know anybody, send them our way. We definitely gotta bump that out as much as we can.
When's the
And
deadline?
it's next Friday, I think. But we'll extend it if we need to.
oh, actually, major breaking news. We were driving by the FANFs just now. I was driving my daughter home and most of their lights were out. We're like, oh
Oh
no.
no.
We're like, what
Oh
do they
no.
do? Where do they even begin?
They have like separate, yeah, it's a whole.
Yeah, no, it's they yeah. So I was like, oh my gosh. I don't even know where they begin to troubleshoot that, but wishing them all the luck in the world.
Yeah, so I mean we don't have a ton. That's it. Just plan to we're trying to get all of our ducks in a row with planning. I have later on. I'll show you what our spring summer program offerings are going to look like. Christine did a great job narrowing that down. So I basically have that ready to go to show you guys. It's just a skeleton of everything happening from February, March to August, summer camp included. So that's a little bit later on. I don't want to delve too much into that. So yeah, and then we're doing our individual sessions of the RAP programs, and those have been going really well. We had a knockout competition, mat ball, so studio. So I can when that wraps up in the end of December, I should be able to show you what that looks like or look like in January. So that's been going really well. People seem to be a big fan of that.
The one day, like,
The one
Yeah.
day kind of hits seem to be going really well for
great.
Thanksgiving to December. We haven't had that many canceled, so that's been great.
Hmm.
So that's it. Just we're trying to get, like I said, that's the program offerings that I'm going to show you for spring summer are due to the printer the first week of January. So we've been trying to nail all that stuff down and get school approval for space and all that fun stuff. So we've been busy with that, and then the grant through the state. We've been talking that. I'm hoping to give you guys a draft of what that looks like by early next week. It's not due till January 6th, so we have plenty of time. But I want to give you guys a draft to give you a first glance before it gets submitted as well. So we've been busy on that app as well. And it's a pretty intensive working with Paul for GIS zoning stuff and Melissa for conservation, and I have to get a few approval letters. So we've just been busy, or I've been busy with that as well.
Anything in getting ready to print for spring and summer and working with the schools and all of that and the vendors, anything unusual or any issues or smooth
No,
running?
we've the only school space we really have is Woodward for summer camp, obviously. Trottier for Skyrise. We have our summer camp. Skyrise, we actually, due to demand, we're going to try to add another week of that Skyrise theater
Awesome.
camp. And we'll show you, we've got a few other community events that Christina sprinkled in as well, and I'll show you a little bit later on. So we're just trying to get all the ducks in a row before it goes live in mid-February. It's hard to believe it's
I
not that
know.
way.
I know.
So that's really it for general program updates. You guys have any questions? I know we're probably going to delve into some of it a little later, but general questions.
No, just that along the way, I've gotten random good feedback on things like the I think I already told you that the stained glass workshops, for example. So it's cool to get feedback on those other kind of outside of sports programs. So nice job on that.
Thank you. Been going great. Good stuff. That's really it. Nothing crazy since we met last. So I think by January I should be able to give you more of a breakdown of how the one day hits went and what that looked like.
Great.
Good stuff.
So old business field playground repair capital update.
Yeah, so since the discussion last, we moved the aerator to revolving, which was perfectly fine. That upped the balance to the capital repair, the field playground capital budget to a little close to $18,000. So Still pretty healthy. We're going to try to meet Kristen or Don or Christine with DPW probably in January to game plan spring and fall maybe, and how to use that fund. So that'll probably be coming down the pipeline as well.
Okay. Anything particular on capital? I mean, obviously we have to talk about CPC.
Yeah, CPC is the big one, but not much in capital. Nothing's really changed. We had that one capital meeting, and I can't remember if we met. That was after our meeting or before. I think that was after, but there weren't a ton of updates with that.
Yeah, and I think we did meet once after, but that's just it. They asked some good questions. Yeah, we have met since then because we talked about they had good questions on the revolving fund and whatnot, but no real takeaways or we don't have to go back as far as I know. All right, so on to the fun one.
I saved the bulk of it
I know. Where do you want to start?
Yeah, if you can share it, that'd be awesome.
Yeah. So I just want to stress that the intent of our meeting today isn't necessarily to address, actually, that's not true. We received some questions from CPC and from some concerned neighbors that we need to be prepared to address on the 18th. So at the CPC meeting last week, it was an administrative meeting in a way, like we were just meeting one last time to make sure that the applications received, had the information they needed and that they met the requirements for CPA funding, but we were not discussing the merit of them or our support of them. So because of that, did not invite Travis because again, it was not meant to discuss like the content and the value, etc. We did receive, or there was at least 3 people in the room and somebody on the line, all neighbors in the surrounding areas. I have their names, but primarily around that Winter Street, which is the small side street there. And the conversation was fine. They had also approached Travis already prior to this meeting. They did what they should. They approached him with the concerns, which we'll get into in more detail, but largely around parking, of course, and accessibility. Really, they echoed the same concerns. I do have a couple questions I want to talk about with the group that we can answer, but in short, there's a few areas that we need to really firm up before the 18th around parking, especially takeaways for DPW. I think we're getting pushed more on the insurance aspect, and do we know for certain? And I know these are all things that Travis has gone out and talked about, but we might need to just firm those up. And then also there was some skepticism about our proximity to the reservoir, given that one of the neighbors, for example, wanted to expand her septic recently, which is further back than where we're going, and she wasn't allowed to do so. So there's some thought process that we somehow, I shouldn't say that, but we need to ensure that we're not bypassing some process that we've talked to conservation, that we've talked to DPW. And again, obviously, as we get more into formal design, that's why we do that first, to make sure that there's no surprises, but every discussion we've had up to date indicates that wouldn't be an issue. But those are the main topics I think we're going to get hit on with the 18th. On the 18th, the other thing is that all of them are very seem fairly against the splash pad. Given
all of the neighbors or all of the CPC? Okay, all
the neighbors. The CPC did not. We entertained the questions. We answered the ones that had already either been answered before or answered by Travis. Anything new, tabled it for the 18th, because that's really when we get into more the discussion on the. Right now, this is just, can it qualify? And then we'll get into, is it the right decision for the town? So the concern from the splash pad, I'd say, is both in the aesthetics, taking away green space for people to run around, and the fact that it's only usable, a certain portion of the year. And so therefore, is it the most value? There was interest in the fact that we said, this is kind of a replacement for the pool. I think people understood what we were saying there, but again, there was skepticism that this was really the best use. And of course, there was concerns from them in terms of just the appearance, right? Taking away against the green space, putting up a fence, potentially blocking that view. I don't think that's any surprises. I mean, that's the that's, I think we anticipated that type of feedback. I assured them that we will be having public outreach between now and the time of town meeting, that we hadn't done it to date because, again, this came to fruition fairly quickly when we found out we couldn't build the dog park on top of Lundblad. So really, we put something together to see what was possible, what was feasible. They had wondered why they weren't engaged for that initial design, and I assured them it was really like a prototype. We asked Activitas what would be possible. And that wasn't design. And certainly when we get more into that, if we proceed forward, that's something that we, of course, would engage with the neighbors and the community on. The other question, I think the concern that I had for takeaway was how much we've spent already on this project. I didn't answer the question, but I did, say, well, look, it minimal, because that's the whole point. We can only take it so far before, of course, Activitas is going to want to know that this is actually a project that has the potential to move forward. So, if we spent anything, it was minimal. And I'd like to confirm, Travis, if that's accurate tonight. So I'll stop there. I think that's the gist. It was like 3 or 4 neighbors. I think some of the names you'd recognize, they're active in town politics. I don't know why I can't find it right now. I'll find it while we're talking. So again, they'll be there on the 18th, I'm sure. We can hear what they have to say, and if that, I ensured them we're going forward with it as it's written right now. They were really interested in whether or not we had the chance to amend it or change it at some point. And we said, sure, anything's possible before town meeting. It's not our inclination to do so right now, but this is what this feedback period can be for. And, like I said, the conversation was fine, but it gave us an idea of what we can expect on the 18th. And I think there'll be more neighbors there. Maybe that's a good segue, actually, Travis, into the survey results. Unless you think, Travis, I missed anything from the feedback.
No, that was really it. You hit the nail on the head.
Were there any concerns about the dog park, or primarily the splash pad was the main?
The splash pad, I think, was predominantly, they're more against it because I think the dog park is green space still.
Okay.
They didn't, someone did mention putting up a fence in the middle of the park. They, didn't love that idea because, again, blocking the view. But again,
Yeah, it was mostly view. Like, if you put a 6-foot tall fence between the spray pad and the dog park, they were worried about it blocking the view. If you put that kind of down the middle, but I would say they were mostly against the spray pad, which is interesting because the spray pad, if you survey the community and the abutters, was the one that everybody identified that they liked about the project.
The one other thing I'll note before we, in terms of things we should be prepared to address before we get into the survey results, is also the parking in light of the new art historical center opening. And what happens when there's events perhaps at both. So again, parking will be an ongoing theme that we need to be able to address. So before we get into discussion and kind of diving into each of those areas a little bit more, Travis, do you want to give us the survey results?
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit. It might be me.
Before we get into discussion on each of those, drilling down into each of those areas a little bit more, could you provide the survey results summarize the survey results?
Yes. Hold on one second. Let me share. You guys want to see the Excel, how I had it, or would you just rather see it in the Google form that I had? We can just scroll down. A preference on? Preference. Fair enough. How's that? Can everybody see that?
I don't see anything. Yet.
Odd.
I think you have a very poor connection, Travis.
What's that?
I think your connection's a little shaky.
I know, which is weird because it says I've always had strong Wi-Fi here. All right, here we go. I'm sorry, guys. Just bear with me. Technical difficulties. How's that?
Good.
Is everyone
Can
in
we
your
see that?
household alive? Yeah.
Sorry, you can probably hear my kids screaming in the background.
Yeah.
Yep, that's they're currently fighting. Yeah. So the first question: how often do you use the Fayetteville Park? A good amount, obviously, are rare, which was surprising. And you between weekly and monthly, and you have a little bit of never in there, which is kind of surprising. Anybody have any questions on use?
Nope. I just took a second to finish my dinner.
That's okay. This was interesting too. We had walking distance. So we had 350 responses and 20%. I think that was close to, I haven't done the math, but it's 70 something people, which is, I think, a good showing of people that live in close proximity. So that's, I think we had a good showing. Neighbor data, I think it was, when I broke it down, it was, where are we at? 72 people said they live within walking distance of the park. So I think that was a pretty healthy response for local versus abutters versus not, or within walking distance and not. The main reason for visiting or not visiting Fayetteville, it's no surprise. The playground seemed to be the key user. Playground, basketball court, those were the main draw for the park. That really wasn't a surprise. It's kind of what I thought. Anybody thoughts on that?
No, but someone mentioned the pavilion. We did get a question in the CPC meeting about the use of that. And it's funny, some of the topics we kind of strayed into were legitimate topics, but separate from building it out. So sometimes people are using the pavilion and not actually, renting it out, for example. And obviously we can answer that question and how much we get and how much in-town rental do we have, which doesn't cost anything versus out of town. But we should get that message information, but I don't think that really has anything to do with the project itself.
Yeah. And next one is overall satisfaction for Fayetteville Park. Good, satisfied, fine. The vast majority was good. So any questions, concerns on overall satisfaction? I mean, it really wasn't surprised. It's a great park. I didn't think people were going to be
Yeah.
That's not surprised. The next question, and oddly enough, we try to use this survey as a program community event tool, which is kind of the next tool too. I got some really good programming and community event ideas from the survey, which is if anything, we take some of those items out for next year in programming we can do there. But improvements or features you'd like to see, most like to see. So again, new playground. Again, some of these aren't really surprising, but new improved playground. If your playground's your key element, why people are going there, a lot of people are going to say they want new playground elements, even though that playground for the most part is in decent shape.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, how old is that playground?
It's not very old.
Yeah.
Within the last decade.
10 years, yeah.
Hi.
And more trees or shade structures. That was actually an interesting one. 77% said they'd like to see, or 77 people said they'd like to see more shade, which was pretty cool. Good to take out of. And the big one that I took out of this too was 210 people said restrooms. So that was an interesting one. Maybe that's something we can explore further down the line is a semi-permanent bathroom feature there. They make some environmentally friendly bathrooms that you can have. I've seen them at other parks and stuff like that. So maybe that's something we can look at down the line through capital if that's something people identify they want there. As it stands right now, we have one ADA accessible unit there that gets cleaned once a week, and it's there from when the field's open in April timeframe to when they close in November. Anybody have any questions on that?
Sorry, so
So
restrooms. Oh, go ahead, Christine.
I was just gonna say, so did we have dog park and splash pad on there? And then what were the
Splash pad was on there, and it didn't score super well. I think there was only two
Okay.
that said their amenities. So that's an interesting piece to take out of
But
this.
this wasn't, you didn't, did you give them choices or is this free form?
It's kind of free form. No, it's choices. They had 10 choices. What improvements or new features would you most like to see? And I kind of gave them. I could have defined it a little bit more, but the question later on, as far as improvements, was the one.
and was this the one where you had the picture at the top of the
Yep.
survey? Okay.
So they actually got to
Okay,
see what we were
interesting.
thinking about doing.
Yep.
Yeah. It's a lot to pick from. As you can see, it's pretty free form. This is the program one I was telling you about for stuff that we can do there now that we have like to poll people. We had outdoor movies was a popular one. Farmers market or pop-up event scored pretty well. So 252 people, some fitness classes. So we got some good birthday parties we already do down there. So there was a good poll of people that would like to see some more recreational program down there in some capacity, which was pretty nice to see. So some good ideas moving forward, regardless of how this pans out.
Yeah, the folks that came to the meeting mentioned, and it's something I didn't realize, like in the green space, they'll see people doing, like outdoor fitness groups or classes. So
Yeah,
that's not a usage I realized it was being used for.
100%. And this was the meat of what I pulled out for data, and what I sent you guys was obviously if the T-ball at Fayetteville Park was repurposed to a splash pad and dog park, how would you feel about that? And that's where I got the data from that I sent you guys. I scored it as a 0 was a neutral, so didn't really mind either way. I did a 1 was in favor of the project. I did a 2 was I was just in favor of splash pad, and 3.
So I have the percentages here if you guys want them. So it was 57% was in favor
Yeah.
of the project, 19% just the splash pad.
We're
Yeah,
all over the place.
Yeah, so it's interesting going from that question. There weren't a lot of selections for splash
Yeah.
pad, so it wasn't really like top of mind for people, I think. And then when they were explicitly
Right.
asked about that space being turned into a splash pad and dog park,
That's a good point.
then yeah, so that's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't really put that together. That's a great point.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
When you give them a plethora of options, it was very low. But when you specifically ask them that this is what we're thinking about doing with the rendering, very much in favor. I mean, I thought overall the feedback was pretty good. I mean, for 57% of the people, for the most part, said that they were in favor of the project. All elements included: walking trail, dog park, splash pad. So close to 60% is not awful by any means.
And I find it interesting, only 4% were just interested in just the dog park.
Yeah.
Because of the plan before for the dog park and all of that.
Yeah.
And then that not happening, I kind of was expecting
And
that to be bigger.
Yeah, and I can go through a double check. That was me just going through and reading the answers.
Yeah, you're cutting out, I think.
So I'll go through. Oh man, Zoom is not working out right now. How's that? Better? No.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep. I've got a quick question. Well, let me hold it. I'll wait till we go into each of the individual concerns and just see, Travis, if we have any gaps we have to fill in before the 18th.
Yeah. So that was it.
So if we just pick through some of the questions that were outstanding. Well, I'll just go through the list, Travis, if that works. So
Yeah.
insurance kind of was getting brought up again. I was very careful, Travis, not to like lock into any answer last week. I mean, for the most part, we deferred to the 18th, but I didn't want to, with you not there, to speak for you. So when they
I
brought up
appreciate it.
insurance again, I said, look, it's something we've looked at, something we discussed. He has familiarity with other splash pads that have been built in other towns, so I believe we're
Mhm.
covered. But they're going to be looking for, folks will be looking for, you know, again, a reiteration of why we're comfortable that insurance won't be an issue.
Yep, and the insurance that the town has for recreational amenities, the splash pad and dog parks are both considered recreational amenities, would be covered under the town insurance, and that's pretty standard practice. But I bring that information. I put that in the CPC application as well, but I'll bring that in hand. And there's actually additional things that you can do that would like use spray park at own risk signage, use dog
Right.
park at own risk signage. There's like steps you can do on top of that that cover you a little bit more. But these are both recreational amenities that are pretty common in the Commonwealth for communities to have that are covered under their town insurance.
Yep, perfect.
Good
There was
questions,
actually,
though,
Oh,
for
great
people
question.
to raise. Yeah.
I would say the same. I would say the same thing.
there was a question actually from the CPC from Grant, and he, first of all, everyone was very appreciative of the table you sent over. So Travis sent a kind of comparison to other towns and their splash pads and the size. And Travis noted that so again, everyone was really appreciative. He sent that the next day. Grant had questioned our size actually looked bigger, I think, than some. And you know, what was driving the size of our particular splash pad? Is it just what we could fit in, or you know, is there some sort of formula of like based on population or kids? Like just he was just curious about that.
Yeah, I have the numbers. It was 25 users per. I forget how much the square footage is. I can look it up.
Yeah.
There's a formula you use for how big your spray park is, and we kind of modeled it after Northborough, to be honest.
Yeah.
And depending on what folks want for size, like if we decide, because in the 2D rendering there actually is green space, so that picnic area is green space. It's grass with like picnic tables and stuff like that, and some shade structures for families. If we decide we want to scale back the spray pad and make it a little bit smaller, make the green space bigger, you could potentially do that too as well. But that's just what we had looked at for Activitas and what we thought would be a good fit.
And what we would refine and design, right, with feedback.
Correct. And
Yeah.
based off of, if people say they really want green space more, maybe we can scale it down a little bit and still have a spray pad and have a little bit more green space as well.
Right. The next one, actually, I have a question. So they talked about like the fact that you know a spray pad would only be good a certain percentage of the year, and like then that becomes a personal opinion because those are still really hot months of the year, and if kids don't have camp and stuff. But it didn't make me think about like what does winterization of a splash pad look like? Does it still remain a space that people can run across, or what happens when a splash pad closes? I have no idea.
It's okay. So they winterize it just like you would like your irrigation. Like they blow it out, blow the water out, make sure there's no water in the pipes. It's pretty standard practice. But I've seen ones that stay open. I know I visited ones with my kids. Kids run around in the poured rubber and the elements. That's not on, but you can still run around with it. I
think that was my main question. It's still an area.
Oh, right? 100%. And the pool, I always viewed them as a better water alternative because there's less liability because you're not taking on a pool and the drowning risks. And then on top of that, it's easier to open because it really is just making it good for the spring and summer. You can open them early because you don't need lifeguards or chemicals or anything like that. You can open it probably in like April, May, and you can keep it open as long as the weather permitting through October on weekends if the need is there. So it's a good water alternative that you can keep open from April to September or October. So it's a good chunk of the year that you can have it open. Like if you have an 85-degree day in October, I've seen communities that keep them open on weekends all the way through.
And realistically, the way we're trending.
I know, seriously.
Hi.
Can you say hello? Sorry.
we love
It looks like a very
personal
important secret.
Yeah.
Very important. So I hope that answers.
I think that's a great point to make too. It's not like a pool, like an outside pool or going swimming in the ocean. Like this is actually, if it's just a warm day, you can
And
go
a lot of people see the pools. Our pools are closed off in the summer. Like nobody's going in there. You put the cover on it, and it's locked up. It's basically dead space. This is something it would be fenced, but it'd be open. People can still run around if they want. But as far as the water element goes in New England, I think it's a good alternative to keep open. But it's totally valid. You're changing green space with a concrete pad essentially now, so it's valid. You're taking green space away.
Yeah, but again, that's where I think it comes out of the hands of CPC and even us and to the town to say, what do you all want to do, you know? And then the last two items I have that I just think we need to be tight on. Why am I blanking on this one? Well, let me go to parking. So there was a comment made by someone that was speaking that was unusual if I caught it right, in the CPC meeting, who said that if I heard her right, she said they anticipate us getting our parking in the historical center's parking lot. We should anticipate issues or something like that. Like maybe it's going to be challenged. I don't know. I didn't ask. I didn't want to delve into it, in that particular meeting. But I guess along those lines, the parking lot is, I think, three things we need to answer is, one, what's up with the parking lot, and what spaces are we getting? Because it was written into the deed, so we should have some. The second is confirming with DPW how many cars can legally fit on the current designated parking areas, both alongside Central and Winter Street. And then third is, are we certain there's no further opportunities to add more parking? I think we got to be prepared to address all three of those on the 18th. So not necessarily today, but so I don't know if we got to get to meet up with DPW down there, get an update from Mark on what's going on, why we wouldn't get our deeded spots in the historical, was it the historical center? What's the proper name? Is it still Fayetteville Hall?
Deeded spots. We have deeded spots.
Yeah. So we just got to again, people seem, I sensed skepticism as to us getting those. So I don't know if there's a underlying story there.
And I don't mean to drag it out. I have been following up with Mark.
No, you're not. I'm not implying you are. I know it's, it's tricky.
It seems very tricky. And I watched part of the planning board, and trying to pull up Central Street from. So this is from. Can you guys see that, the street view?
Yeah.
Yes.
From 2012. Oh gosh.
We're losing me again.
Extremely slow, so I apologize. Oh, come on. Okay, I give up. But if you want to go you can take a look for yourself. It looked like 2012, and you guys can correct me if I'm wrong, looked like there was parking on both sides. I don't know if that helps or hurts our case.
Yeah, no, when we redid the park, I thought we had outlined the spots there. Again, I haven't gone back. That's my bad into our minutes. But either way, I think we just need to get a fresh perspective from DPW on how many people can safely, so when we give a number, we're like, well, there's, 12 spots there or 3 spots there. We have, however many deeded spots we have.
And if there is an option to add spots to the other side of the street, what would that look like? And I think if we come with options of parking and, addressing the concern, and, obviously it's something we've talked about even as part of the project, potentially adding some spots here or there, whatever.
Yep.
That's a great suggestion. So I'll follow up with DPW and I will, I'll get an answer on that. What we can safely park down there. And if parking across the street is something we can explore for in the not so distant future, might make people feel a lot better when they actually see a firm number.
I think so. Cause we just need to get, and I think DPW is the source of that, right? Like,
Yeah. And it's funny, if you go to Northborough, their splash pad, it's
there's
on
nothing.
a
Yeah.
main street. There's
Yeah.
little to no parking. There is a parking lot that's a little bit of a ways away, but
Yeah.
if I have enough time between now and the 18th, I'll try to pull, and I don't think it exists, but spray pads and existing parks that have a spray pad and existing parking to support said parks.
Yeah.
I feel like there's quite a bit of parking over there.
Yeah.
Where? Oh yeah.
Over by Fayetteville. I mean, we've gone and never had a problem finding a spot. I get with a splash park in the summer, the demand will be higher.
Yeah.
I can't remember if there's a crosswalk there. Is there? Okay.
I think there is, but I don't think it's one of the blinking ones. I think it's just so that's maybe something we could explore for down the line too, to make it a little safer.
Yeah, and in the Winter Street, folks, I don't want to say it out loud actually, but I never realized Winter Street was used as a pass through in certain sections. I'm like, I never thought about that, but so
I didn't know that either.
I know. So I was like, oh, and I'm like, I won't do it, I swear. But
remind me, Winter Street is the one that goes around
up to Route 9. Yeah. Down by the water and up to Route 9. So I guess people don't do this if nobody's gonna listen to our meeting. But I'm like, oh, I never thought about that. So they have issues, right, with people parking where they shouldn't park, and totally understand that. And I'm like, we can do with signage, but that's really like something with the Southborough Police and to work on, right? Like we can only do so much in terms of making people do the right thing. But I understand their concerns if they're already having issues.
Yeah.
They're foreseeing them mounting. So certainly if this went forward in design, we'd really have to take that into consideration and how else we could alleviate that.
Yeah.
Again, they were very reasonable in terms of all the feedback. So
yeah, one other thing that I think that they mentioned too is that the train track and where the lights are still, apparently there's a horn. One of the neighbors said, I think it was Lori, said that there's a horn that goes off every hour. I've never heard it. I don't know if that's accurate or not. She said it's right near where the dog park would be. I don't know if that would upset dogs or not. I don't know how accurate that is.
Like a horn from a train going by?
No,
I don't know if it's
that would make sense. I don't know.
No,
but
the train volume is like one
really
per
low,
day.
Yeah.
And one at 9 p.m. or so, 9:30. There might
really?
be, it's like it's a very disused line. It is used. It's a live line. The one that goes through town is like 9:30 at night, and sometimes there's one during the day because it goes right through the center of town. I've never heard a horn, like a random horn without a train. Like there's no.
Yeah, I've been to that park many times, and I do not recall hearing an hourly horn.
She said it was, if I remember correctly, because it was right around Thanksgiving that we had talked, and she had mentioned a horn that goes off by that park every hour, like a test horn or something like that. I don't know.
What would that be?
I don't know. I honestly don't know that. She had mentioned it. And that was one thing that I was going to bring up tonight that I just remembered.
I think that goes back to signage warning. If that is true, like warning horns.
Yeah.
Because again, it's always going to be something, unfortunately. I feel like there was one other area that I felt like we needed to. Oh, so yeah, the last area I just want to make sure we're tight on, because they were a lot of people have talked about, even though the water is recycled, continue to be in disbelief that the proximity to the reservoir will not be an issue with anybody from conservation or DPW. Again, because this one particular resident had an issue in expanding her septic, which I'm like, that is weird. I agree with you. We definitely didn't do anything to jump through hoops. But I think we'll have to be specific on the conversations of who we talked to and what was said in terms of that.
Do you want me to provide you the letter? I mean, it was an email.
Yeah, I just think it's something we have to have in our back pocket. Like they're going to ask that question. So if we can say definitively, like spoke with so and so, or
I mean, we're clear that it's water, right? Yeah. Which is different than septage. As an expert, I work for a company that and it's a recycled system. So like it wouldn't be much different than having like a sprinkler on the grass, to be sort of honest with you.
It was funny when I talked to them and they were so fixated on the spray pad. I told them it was recycled water. Oddly enough, they were more worried about a waste disposal plan for the dog park because it abuts the reservoir than they were about the splash pad. They didn't really care much about the splash pad, but they said at this dog park, you're going to have a waste disposal plan of some kind. And yes, that seemed to be what they were most worried about. Not really, not really.
That's because
that's a valid
waste.
one.
It's septic. It's septic. Like.
I just said we're not building beyond where we go out now either.
Because the issue with the septic is, I don't know, people, I'll give you a quick 30-second lesson. Every one of us here has one in town. It's not the tank that's the issue. It's the leaching field. So what happens is everything sits in the tank and the solids stay there and the liquids get pushed out into your field.
Too much. You went
too
far.
Yeah, you've got too much in there, and it could affect it gets seeped into the water table, the whole thing, blah 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 blah. I imagine that there are rules on like size of field and how much can go when you're that close to so that all makes complete sense if you're talking about septic. Like totally makes a ton of sense. This is like a completely different animal.
It's enclosed, right? And there's nothing.
Yeah. Interesting, though.
Oh, you're muted, Trev.
I was talking to my daughter. And the water is recycled and chlorinated. So, I mean, it's not like it's treated every time it comes through. It's not,
Yeah, so those are the areas that that we promised we'd be ready to discuss on the 18th. Again, nothing, I think a lot of it, unfortunately, well, for sure, I think a lot of it just will come down to personal opinion at the end of the day. And that's what the town's got to vote on. And
I think we put our best foot forward. I think we pivoted given the Neary school dilemma and pivoting to something we can do in the next 2 to 3 year windows. I think we did the best we could.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think Kristen, you had another question as far as what we spent so far. The only thing we've spent so far is the $2,500 for the rendering from Activitas. That's
what I told them. I'm like, we're not talking tens of thousands. Like, and we would have paid for it ourselves. So,
and then if they do move forward, the design, no, we did say we'd pay for that out of the revolver. Right. That was the only other piece.
Well, and I like that because it's, again, continuing to diminish the risk to the town spending money that they feel is wasteful. Because, again, we might find something out in design. We always know that. That's why we, go deep into that quickly. But from that perspective, we're not putting any of their dollars at risk, their CPC dollars.
100%. So it's, I think that, I think the feedback's been really good. Definitely valid concerns from the neighbors. I knew there were going to be people or butters that were not fans, which is totally understandable. So it's,
Cool. All right. So if you guys are free, I think we're going to be last. There's 3. On the 18th is when we're taking positions in CPC. At least on 2, maybe 3. There's one involving something in the cemetery, a historical project that we're still pulling together. So that's going to be a fairly quick conversation. So I think they're going to go first. Affordable housing will probably go second. We're expecting the most conversation with rec, so that would be third. We typically start our meetings at 7, so I don't think this is any different. If you guys, we just need to know if you guys might want to come, even if you don't, so we can post a meeting.
I cannot. My husband's traveling, and I've got to figure out how to get my 2 kids where they need to be anyway.
I should be able to. I'm volunteering for DECA on Thursday.
I know. I had to back out of that. That's done. I got it.
But no, I think it's from 6 to 7. So if we're towards the end, then that works. By the time I get home, like I can log in afterwards. So, but that would just mean 2 of us at this point. So I don't know if you have to log. I don't know if you have to post a meeting.
No.
What's DECA?
It's a high school club that's focused on sort of business oriented. So the kids, kind of focus on various sort of business themes, and then they work on
really
sort of cases and sort of different elements marketing, finance, accounting, like all kinds of stuff where
Entrepreneurship.
they sort of get trained up on how by each other, trained up on a case. They have to be able to answer and do a presentation. So they got sort of get with a judge. So they get 10 minutes to prepare. They get 10 minutes to present. And it's a competition. So there's a district competition, and then there's a state competition, and then there's a national competition.
Whoa.
It's a really cool. Both of our kids are in it, and it's been a great program.
Did you go to Deck the Halls?
I was going to say
Deck the Halls.
I went to Deck the Halls. Came back with some stuff.
I bought very local there. So it's international too. So they kind of are like building their networks, which is crazy. But there we are. My daughter's got a better LinkedIn photo than I do.
Oh, that's awesome.
Great. All right, so cool. We don't have to post. That will be on the 18th. And obviously, Don, if anything comes up, or if any of us hear anything in between, we'll reach out.
Sounds good.
The LWCF grant.
Yep, Land Water Conservation Fund. That's the grant. I'm going to hope, like I said, I'm hoping to get you guys a draft of that by mid next week.
Okay.
So I'm going to share it with conservation as well. Figure the more eyes on it, the better. Melissa's actually submitted a couple of these grants. Melissa Danza, the conservation agent for the town. So I'm going to have her read it as well. It's not really super user friendly. It's just text boxes, so you can't really format it the way you'd probably want to. So it's just a long like paragraph, but it's like 4,000 characters. So I think, and Melissa said it's less is more, but it's kind of hard to. The way the scoring system, you want to make sure the input you're giving them is the input that's going to score you the best project. So I should have a draft for you guys by mid next week.
Awesome. Thank you. We already talked about the Fayetteville Hall parking, 21 Highland Street. The only go ahead.
Yeah, I don't have it. You go. You lead the way.
Well, the only update I think I have since last time we talked, because last time we talked about some of the, repairs that we were going to move forward with, is that it's coming up in conversations really more from one select board member in particular when discussing the Neary School project. Al continuously kind of loops 21 Island in and talks about selling it. More in passing, I heard, actually, I didn't listen to the select board meeting, but I think they might have had a little bit more of a extensive conversation, but it was mentioned in passing the other night on the Neary School Joint Committee meeting on Monday. But again, it was really just something said in passing, but nonetheless, really more from a neighborhood. There's neighborhood groups involved, obviously myself and others that will, the town I thought was going to be formalizing some sort of feedback loop, taking over the work of the 21 Highland Street Committee. I haven't seen anything in regards to that. So short of that, I think there's just groups of citizens that will continue to work on other alternatives to consider for 21 Highland too. Again, keeping in mind, we know nothing about what's going on with the schools. I did listen into the meeting Monday, and it still sounds there's a whole lot of
honestly, I listened
to
the comment that you had mentioned to listen to Travis, and to me it was almost like I don't want to call it a throwaway comment. It was more of like and we could put this in there too.
Yeah.
And so I didn't take it as any sort of
good.
I didn't take it as sort of like some sort of new initiative. It was sort of like making a point, like, hey, we've got space there, and here's an example of something we could stick there. Honestly, I took away from it that if I had to lay odds, I'd say there was a better odds you'd end up in Neary. That Neary becomes like a town building. And, and I was thinking to myself, well, you know what? They got a little gym in there, and they got a playground right there, and this was space, and maybe if that ever came to fruition one day, assuming that the building is appropriately renovated, that wouldn't be necessarily a bad solution. So I appreciate the context of using, and it's a ready example of a department you could put somewhere else to help utilize space, and that's kind of how I read I read it. I didn't read it as a new sort of like initiative. It was like, here's a really easy example, and I get to make a point on something else of like what we could do.
Yeah. No, I think that's a fair comment because I think if recreation gets pushed out, it's going to either be to like Trotter or Finn or Neary, and I don't think anyone could argue that any one of those options could be great. I think it becomes like a split. Now it's more about getting rid of 21 Highland, which is less a direct
Right.
concern for Recreation Commission and more an overall town and obviously
Right.
south side of town conversation. So, yeah. So that's kind of where it is. No action, I don't think, needed by the commission.
I try to keep you guys when it comes up because I have it in the background when I answer emails and stuff. So I'm like, all right, well, this came up again, and this is like the second.
No, I appreciate it. I'm glad you did because that piqued my interest and why I listened in the other night, so I could get that as well.
It comes up when it comes up a couple times. It's like, all right, your ears go up a little bit. The other project update too is that I know this goes along with future is that we had a meeting with John Parent on Monday for the mini splits for the top floor. So we're hopefully starting the work to see if we can get that top floor a little more temperature friendly. I don't know. I don't have a timeline yet, but we're hopefully going to get an estimate on that pretty quick because that's the easiest portion of the job.
That's great. That's exciting. All right. We are on to Recreation Commissioner recruitment.
Yep, we're going to ramp up again and probably after the holidays to try to find that fifth commissioner. You guys have been doing awesome. But anybody you know, we're going to continue to try to plug it. We'll do another push for that in early January. So we'd like to try to get some new that one position filled that we've had empty since Jen left. So.
Yeah, I haven't given it. I'll have to give it some thought. I haven't actually specifically thought about it in a bit, so I'll do that too. We talked about new business, 21 Highland Street future. Personnel board update, was this just about the increase in hours?
Yeah, for Lisa. And then I think at that same meeting, we're going to try to go for the assistant director job function we talked about in November. So just keeping you guys in the loop when we do go for that, we might go for the assistant director, which I think they'll probably just hear us out and then they'll try to grade the position, I would presume. But I don't know. This is my first experience going through the personnel board. So I don't know what this looks like or how this goes, but I want to keep you guys in the loop.
Well, and if the presence of any of us would help, or I don't know if it would help or hurt, but at the meeting, certainly.
As soon as I get the date, I don't know when it is. I will send it to you guys just so you can make the choice whether you want to be there or not. But I haven't got the date yet for that meeting. As soon as I get that, I'll let you know. But I just wanted to keep you in the loop. That's all.
Great, thank you.
No worries.
You already shared with us the really awesome news about the director's school. So that is really cool.
You got it. And I did promise you guys a look at the, I know we're pushing an hour now, so I'll try to keep this as brief as I can. I'll run through, and if my bandwidth, for some reason, having some difficulty sharing everything. Can everybody see that?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. RecConnect, we're going to be doing another summer of RecConnect, which we're excited about. Can you guys hear me okay? Am I going in and out, or is this good?
Nope, you're good.
Okay, cool. Spring community events. Christina actually added, we're going to do a youth sports equipment swap. So we're going to be partnering with youth lacrosse, baseball, softball,
Great idea.
Youth soccer at 21 Highland. We're going to do might try to get a food truck and do some other fun stuff. Who knows? Maybe we'll get Wally to come again. But we're going to do a sports stop on Sunday, March 15th. So we're excited.
Sorry to interrupt. We had talked about it one time before that we used to do Spring into Spring.
That's awesome. Oh, yes.
Event, and we sold reduced like recreation vouchers.
Maybe we'll name it Spring into Spring. I like it.
But so it was just like, face painting and stuff. So it's just an event to get people to the recreation building, which actually.
That's one of the reasons we chose to do it at 21 Highland is because we want to get people to the building.
I was just going to say, I'm like, now that you do that, I'm like, oh, wait a second. Like, we'll have to think about that from the other perspective, where.
No, but it's spring, maybe, and it'll be a good time to advertise for spring, summer.
Well,
Summer
It's
camp.
kind of, you get people to come and get like, I don't remember what the reduction was. It wasn't significant, but if you know you're signing your kid up for RAP, it was like an incentive to get out there, and also kind of, I don't want to say lock them in. That's not the right verbiage, but once they have those dollars, they're more likely to spend them, or the vouchers or whatever you want to call them.
100%. So we're excited about that. That'll be a first time for us. We're going to do Touch a Truck in May because that was very, very popular. So Sunday, May 4th, we're going to do a Touch a Truck. This isn't new for us, but May is Mental Health Awareness Month. So we're going to do a variety of community events throughout that month. In addition to that, we're going to kick the summer off with the Family Fun Run on July 1st at Erie.
That's fun.
So we're going to have it'll be pretty informal. We're not going to get like a timer or anything like that, but we'll get shirts and we'll have food trucks, and we'll try to get ice cream to be included too. But it should be a fun community event. Good way to kick the summer off.
That's cool.
And this is the big tweak we've made for this summer. So we made a choice, and I talked to you guys a little bit about this, but you can actually see it now. Usually a couple years ago, we had 6 concerts. We don't have a huge budget to have concerts, and we stretched the budget very far and very thin for 6. So this year we decided to make a choice to do 2 concerts and bring in bigger ticket bands. So Disco Lemonade and Midnight Riders are very popular, well-known bands that we're super excited about, that we're going to have 2 concerts for in July with. So super pumped about that. Hopefully that'll be a bigger draw for us.
I think that's great.
Yeah, and if people know there's only 2, like I know I do this. I'm like, oh, there's another one, and there's another, like I'm like, oh, I'll go next week. So if like there's only 2 opportunities, I feel like that actually will make me go.
Oh yeah, 100%. And we talked to Disco Lemonade a little bit about it, and they actually do a lot of summer concert series, and they're very interactive, which I like. They bring a child up to sing songs. So like we'll work with them leading up, and we'll hopefully get them a camper to come out, and they'll be able to sing songs while they're up there. So they're pretty interactive, which we're excited about.
And they cover like all genres, so it's great for all ages.
100%. So we're excited about that, and we're going to continue with the block parties. We're going to do July 9th and 23rd. Those were the one at Finn was really, really popular. I think we had 200 plus people. So we're going to try to do that again this year as well. We'll just add on to it. So we're excited. And then the big one is Summer Nights, August 22nd. So we're excited about that.
Great theme.
Okay, we're going to have, guys, we're doing a nautical theme this year. We're going to do Below Deck. It's going to be Yacht Rock. We're going to have a theme for Summer Nights. So
I love it.
We're excited. It was Christina's idea. I'm super pumped about it. It's going to be a lot of fun.
So fun.
I'm putting it on my calendar right now.
I love it. And we're doing some school vacation programs. So we're trying to be more involved in the school vacation because there seems to be a lack of Extended Day does some stuff, but we're looking to try to get involved too. So we'll be doing some half-day field trips on vacation days and half days as well. So we're trying to get into the game there. Nothing crazy. Boo Socks on April 24th. So Studio. So we kind of got an April vacation filled out, which should be fun. We're doing the babysitting classes again. We're going to be doing some tennis this summer. The big one, Teen Pottery is popular. Sorry, I'm running through this pretty quick, but Mother's Day gifts and Father's Day gifts. Pottery is always a big one for us. We're doing mini sports again. The big one I want to ask Kristen and Dawn, because you guys have context with this. Have you guys ever voted on summer camp fees? I know we didn't do it last year because I was new. Is that something you have done historically?
I believe so.
Okay, good. I bought those with me, and I was hoping we could vote on that today because we do have a little bit of an increase. Tennis in the park. And then our summer camp is June 20. I'm trying to get down to it. So Wednesday, 25th is when registration is going to open. June 29th, and we're going to go all the way to August 15th.
Wow.
So super pumped about that. That means June 24th is when we're going to start our training.
When did you say registrations you're targeting to open?
February 25th.
Okay. Thank you.
Don't worry about it. Okay, here you go. I'm going to give you. Hold on, I'm just going to share my other screen. So that's summer camp. We're going to be doing tennis, some flag football programs. So we've got a lot of. We're doing some. Christina's done a handful of programs. So when camp ends on August 15th, we're going to do a couple of vendor programs. So that week after camp, we're going to be doing some other stuff too. So
I didn't catch that. The
Can you
week
guys see
after
that?
camp, what?
The week after camp, we're going to be doing
Yep.
right brain curriculum, and we're going to be doing a sports program. So that week after summer camp, August 15th, I think it is. When we close camp, we're going to be doing some vendor camps just to give parents an option for something to do once camp ends. Does that make sense?
Yep.
Yes.
And this is to. So this is what we're looking at for budget wise. We did go up a little bit on minimum wage or bottom wage for what we pay counselors, and then obviously for Corderville that includes playgrounds and field trips and stuff like that. So with the price of what field trips and buses and all that fun stuff, unfortunately, if you look at summer 2025, we were able to keep Fayetteville pretty close to what it was. I think we went up $10 for half day because that's the more popular one. But with Corderville, that 355 is all special guests, all field trips, all buses. So that's 355 for the week. Wherever. So I know it's a little bit of a bump, but that's what operationally we are taking on. But I don't know. Yeah. Thoughts? I know it's a little bit of a bump, but Christina
Is Corderville only full day?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's why Fayetteville is at a half day, full day. Half day is the more popular one by far. You have a lot of first time campers there that have never done it before. Usually by the end of the summer, they try half day and they'll go to full day, but they stay at camp. They don't really go on field trips. And we have special guests that come in like magicians and we had a guy come in and do a dog show. We had a dino guy come in, but Corderville, they go to Woo Sox games, and unfortunately the costs of buses are going up. The costs of field trips are going up. We went up by a little bit for our starting hourly for counselors, but
I mean, at the end of the day, it's a little less than 10%. And with the economy the way it is, I don't know that anyone should, it's,
I mean, you're adding the additional field trips are pretty much the cost driver. What did you say the increase was last year?
It was I think it was $10, $15 last year. We could probably stretch it to $345 if you wanted to put it $345. And the problem, it's not really a problem, but we're running up against it with St. Mark's too. Obviously, we still had a very healthy camp, I would say, but we definitely had some competition last summer. And I think the summer before that, you started to see it with St. Mark's too.
You know what they are per week?
It's a lot more than that.
A lot more.
Yeah, it's still, I would still consider this pretty affordable. And we don't need to make a decision tonight because the doesn't go to the printer till mid-January. So as long as we have another meeting between then and now.
I mean, I think the first and foremost, you can't run it at a loss.
No.
Right. And as you noted, you have competition, so you have to keep up with the competition and make sure that you're offering a desirable program. And you're offering it at probably still the lowest rate that anyone can find. So, if you said we were sort of reduce, like the alternative is to reduce amenities, right? So you knock out trips and you knock out, then you can keep it. My sense is that the trips are valuable and that for the extra $15 or whatever it is, what does it work out to be $30? So it's basically $6 a day. For the extra $6 a day, the kids get to do something more.
My only concern is, I guess, like $30 is something you can kind of digest. If you have more than one kid, now it's $60 more per week, and and just, but I also understand everything you said, Don. Numbers are numbers, it's facts are facts. I think that's the part where I'm like, oh, if I was a parent, I just realized I have to budget in an additional $60 per week in the current economy with that. It's unfortunate, I guess, like it is what it is. But
I mean, theoretically, like if that's should we have a multi-kid discount?
Yeah.
Yeah, we can look at that. Yeah, the biggest that's the part I'm trying to be sensitive. The thing that we're working in our favor is that we're the most affordable camp. We don't have pools, we don't have all the amenities that St. Mark's has. Our big thing is we are very much the affordable option in town.
Yeah, St. Mark's is like $570 a week. They do it by 2 weeks, but I just looked it up and they're well over.
Yeah, so we're well below that.
Yeah, I just worry again, I like the idea of maybe looking into the multifamilies, because again, if they're coming to the more affordable camp, there might be a reason for that already. And so, I think I'm not questioning, Travis, anything you guys have put together here. It's more like, shoot, is there anything we can do more to help families in this?
Why don't you let me come back and I'll give you guys the meat so you can actually see it, why and how we arrived at that number, and then I'll try to work in a sibling, because we still have a little bit of time with this. I can work in a sibling discount for what that looks like, if that would make everybody feel a little better.
Thank you.
No worries, anytime. It makes perfect sense. I mean, like you said, if you have 3 kids going to camp, that's $90.
Yeah.
Totally understandable. So we'll table that. So does anybody have any other? So we'll table fee structures. The next one's the summer community event budget. I don't have, where are we at? Can everybody hear me okay?
Yep.
This one I do have some meat for.
I have to go off video for 1 second, but I'm still here.
Yep. Just summer. That's the summer breakdown for what we are looking at between summer concerts and summer block parties and summer nights. So obviously summer nights is the big expense. We'd spend around 23 grand. So we're the biggest chunk in losses. And those are generally covered through revenue we make through summer camp. Don or Christine, you got any thoughts?
How does this compare to last year?
About the same. Well, the summer concerts are pretty level because we added bands wise, but we didn't have as many concerts, but we invited some better quality bands. So we're hoping to support it.
You should put in for better Wi-Fi at your house. I think that once you add that to the budget.
If I have the budget to do it, I'm sorry, guys. Am I going in and out again?
Yeah, a little bit. It's sort of, you have like consistency, and then it gets a little like all of a sudden you get staticky.
This is what happens. My laptop's been working fine, and then the last week my son's been using it for school, and now it's being really laggy. So go figure. I've never had this issue with anything. So that's our summer concert series budget. I'm hoping that Friends of will sponsor 3,200, and that will cover it for us. Block parties, I'm hoping between Eagle Leasing was a sponsor for us last year, and I'm hoping Friends of will sponsor 1,500, and maybe more. I want to get us up to that $3,000. And then Christine, to your point, this stacks up. These expenses haven't changed very much every year. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
The one that I think is going to go up a little bit is the fireworks. I've confirmed it, but they said it's going to go up a little bit, not much. But everything else, police detail, fire detail, Signorama, fencing for the fireworks, that's kind of all remained level. And these have been some of our key sponsors in past years. Main Street Banks giving us 1,500, Middlesex Banks giving us 1,500. Our Friends of Group, super generous, gives us 1,500 for St. Mark's. Eversource came in this past year and gave us 1,500. And then we make $100 per.
So tell the other schools that St. Mark's gives 1,500.
Faye, I'm going to try to work on and see if I can get a little bit more from them. Historically, they used to give us a little bit, but they stopped. It's interesting. Some they come and go. Sometimes Faye gives a little bit more. St. Mark's gives a little bit less. But and generally, historically, and correct me if I'm wrong, the summer nights loss has generally been covered by summer camp revenue.
It's the first time I've seen that we make a loss on summer nights. I haven't seen this before.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's always been a loss. Those events like that, community free events, unless you can close the gap with sponsorship, usually run at some sort of loss because it's the expenses are so much. 23 grand's a hard. I mean, if you have any sponsorship ideas or thoughts, I would gladly hear you out.
No, I'm not I'm not disputing that it's a loss scenario. It's just that we haven't gone through most of the time. Most of the finance detail we've seen in the past was really more the holistic view of, okay, here's all the receipts that we had for the year. Here's all the expenses across the fields, the programs. This would have showed up as an expense, obviously, and then just to prove out that your revolving fund is not decreasing. Or if it's decreasing, it's because you made a capital investment and we understand that. Otherwise, it's healthy. And that's usually more in line with, getting prepared for town meeting and making sure that when they go, because there's a line item about a revolving fund in the warrant.
100%. And I mean, do you like, I don't want to go too much in the nitty gritty. Do you guys like seeing some of this stuff? I know, Christine, you're new. Don, do you like going this far into detail?
From my perspective, we like to talk about the fees, whether it be the fields, the camp. Usually we have to approve the hourly rates for the campers, that kind of stuff. So that all makes sense. And then I do like to see at least once a year, sort of like what's going on with the revolving fund to make sure that, it is.
Yeah. Can I show you that now? I do have that.
Oh, if you'd like.
All right. So here's where we're setting up. I pulled FY25, FY21 to 26, and keep in mind we're still in FY26. So I think once summer camp opens up registration, that number is going to go flying through the roof. But we're on the lower end of where we've been the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years, but not that far off. Our expenses and charges aren't nearly what they've been in the past, but our revenue is a little bit down, and I think that's predominantly because of summer camp and St. Mark's. But that's where we stack up.
Yeah, this doesn't make any sense to me. Sorry.
That's okay.
Your math doesn't work.
How so?
So, see, let's start at the 254, right? 254,058, bottom right-hand corner, right? That's your total at the end of 2021, right? Do you see?
Yeah.
Maybe we should wait till you have a better Wi-Fi connection. You see the 254,058, one cell over?
Yeah.
Okay, let's start right there. That was your balance at the end of fiscal year 21. Then you had inputs, right? Inputs of 110. Because that's your revenue, right? That would mean that you're at 364. Then you have your outputs of 227. 364 minus 227 is not 281. So you're either missing a piece or the cell formulas aren't working, or I'm not sure what's going on here, but this doesn't as a revenue less expenses equals balance, this isn't doing it.
Isn't doing it. No, I think it has to do with the rollover that you took on. This isn't taking into fact what you rolled over for FY20 because I didn't put that in, so that could be anything.
No, I look like 281 plus 125 minus 271 does not equal 289. So
I'll look at it.
Part of it is that if you're trying to do it as of 12/1, like, as you were saying, your cash flow is different. Like you end up getting all of your cash in for camp, let's say in January, February, March, and none of your expenses go out until, July, June, July, August, which ends up being the next fiscal year. So you end up with a weird timing cycle, but I don't know where this came from, but it does not make any fiscal sense to me.
Fair enough. I'll go through Vadar. It's just running the report for 12/1 and then inputting into Excel, but I can definitely double check.
I think the issue is that because it's 12/1, you don't have any of your camp revenue for this year.
No.
And so your balance may actually, it doesn't roll, is what I'm trying to say. You might have 267 in the account right now, but when you look at the 108 versus the 187, it kind of makes it look like you have a deficit, but you don't, like, because you're
the way that the fiscal years roll, they don't jive with the way the revolving fund rolls, because it always makes it look like you have a deficit because you take your money in the prior.
You're taking in 1 year, and you guys don't. It doesn't do, like, this isn't accrual counting. This isn't. Government accounting is.
You're taking in your revenue the prior fiscal year and you're using it in July and August, which are a different fiscal year. So that makes it. You're right. It always looks like this, where you look. It looks
it
like
won't look. It won't look right until you get to June or May.
Yeah. The only. You go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Yeah, the only time I think that you have a true picture of where you're at with the revolving fund is like mid to late August, when you've spent everything out for the summer and you really haven't taken in any fall registrations yet.
Yeah. That's the problem with using the system. It doesn't in accounting parlance, it's sort of like a cash based as opposed to an accrual based that lines up more with how, so you have to, like, you can't just run the report. We always had to do, like, we had a different Excel that we'd map it in so we could see it. But
how is Tim, and I don't want to go too far off the topic. How did Tim give this to you guys in years past? Like, I'm using the municipal system, which obviously isn't ideal because it makes it look like this.
There were other reports and that were maybe a little bit more detailed. And then what you would do is you would just adjust for exactly what we were talking about. So he'd have a section, you might even find this in the old files. You'd have a section on fall wrap, revenue cost, spring wrap, revenue cost, fields, camp,
he had it breaking down by, I can definitely do that. That's easy.
So when you do that, you can actually see, like, you can kind of adjust for the timing issues that you have here, because, like, theoretically at this point, where are we in December, your fall wrap has already gone through the whole thing, right? And you'd be able to know, hey, did fall wrap break even or not, right? And you'd be able to see that.
I can definitely have that. I can.
But I wouldn't don't stress about it, right? Like, I think
it's good context. I want to hear what you guys like to see too. Like, if that's something that was done historically that you guys like, because I'm learning what you guys like to see too. This is good feedback. Yeah.
But you might actually find it in Tim's old spreadsheet, because every so often we would get called up to do a presentation to the select board, and part of the presentation was, how are the numbers in terms of users? Did you have more or less? How many people signing up and whatnot? And how's the health of the revolving fund? And of course, the health of the revolving fund is driven by, did I bring in more receipts than expenses? And we'd always have an item where, for example, I think one year, Kristen, we bought the van. So the van is a decrease in the balance, but that's a justifiable decrease, right? That doesn't have a revenue offset, so it's an outflow. And so you'd show that that's why the balance significantly changed this year, because we had a one-time investment to make that happen.
What if we did like a quarterly report?
I don't think you need to. I'm as your finance guy.
Well, no, this is good feedback. I want to hear what you guys.
I think once a year is fine. I think it's important to talk about it at each of the different milestones, camp, in terms of what should the rate be, and what are your expenses look like? Wrap programs, like, do you change anything? You feel good that you're breaking even. User feeds for the fields, right? Whether it's grass or 9/11 or whatever it is. Those, like, talking about those in individual components makes sense. And then once a year, we should go through and just be like, okay, how did it all work out? Are we still, Are we still generating uh, income? Not really income, but is the balance growing? And great, that's really what we want to see. We don't want to see this being whittled down because the expenses exceed what you're bringing in for the users. That would mean that we're not charging the right rate. And then if there is an investment that's made, a van, a design study, whatever, right? Then we know that collectively we've made a decision to lower to see the overall balance go down, which is fine. That's why it's there. It's there to be making opportunistic investments. But it's not, that's sort of I think that's I feel like that's okay being a once a year thing, as long as we have those regular sort of like, hey, like the camp conversation today. And, at some point we talk about field user fees and things like that to make sure things are good.
Do you remember what time of year you generally had that once a year?
It was usually in line with, obviously you have to you have a warrant item in the town meeting, right?
Yeah.
And usually, so what's that? Probably like March timeframe. I mean,
yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because you have to figure out what that number is for the warrant, and I think that was sort of part of the conversation. But, like you said, pulling one of these reports doesn't help. You kind of have to again, I'd have to go back and look, and I'm sure it's in the files, but I had done something with him and Doreen to just be able to show what at any given point in time it looks like, and then it funneled in. You might even see the old presentations that we gave to the board.
No, this is great feedback. I want to make sure these are things that I want to make sure we're still doing. So this is good. I'll try to pour through Tim's files, and that's actually coming up, so that'll be a good time to do that. Good stuff. Christina, did that make sense?
Yes. I mean, yes, it will make sense.
Fair enough. Yeah, the way the financial system for the state or our town works is that it's July through June, and we take all of our summer money in like February, March. That's actually when the revolving fund's probably its highest. And then we generally spend it out the following fiscal year in July and August. So it's hard to get a good picture of what the revolving fund looks like by using the town financial system. Tons of fun. Makes sense.
9/11 fees.
Yeah, 9/11. More good number talk that'll make your head spin. This is I want to put this guy on the commission's radar as something that I'm probably going to bring down the pike. So our bond payment. Hold on, I'll share this for you. Can you guys see that?
Yeah.
The 9/11 payment. So our bond payment is going to be going up it's zero, but that's FY 29, 30, and 32 are 60 grand. It's going to be going up. We're paying 50 per year. I don't know why this is zero. So it's going to be going up a little bit. And again, this is using the municipal system, so it might be a little wonky. But that's the balance at the close of the fiscal year come July. And that's the way it's been since FY 22, 23, 24, 25. So far this fiscal year, we're waiting on a 16K check from youth soccer, which will bring us up close to 29K. And in the spring, we're probably going to take in around 35 for spring sports, which would put us north of where we need to be for the 9/11 bond payment. But as that number grows, we might need to look at raising that fee. And another thing to put on your radar too, and I talked to Don a little bit about this too, we have seen a little bit of the hourly usage trickle down since 22 and 21. I'm going to attribute that probably towards Algonquin putting in their turf field. When I looked back in 22 and 23, a lot of the users were Algonquin, like team captains practices, fall sports, because they didn't have a turf field. From what I gather, you guys can correct me if I'm wrong. So I think we're seeing a trickle down in sports, and I think we're probably going to be in that 550 to 600 hour range. And we can definitely work on being better at marketing that field and reaching out to some of our users from 22 and 23 and see. But I think regardless of us going up a little bit from $100 to whatever we decide maybe at next meeting, I think we're still going to be the lowest game in town as far as hourly usage for turf fields. But I just wanted to put that on your radar. I'm going to be pulling stuff from other communities over the next few months, but more for maybe the fall of 2026. But I just want to put that on your radar. That's all.
I wonder, we'd gone to meet with Faye, who told us about their plans to build out over at the Mill Street Fields with the soccer club over, which the one over off Bartlett. Is it NECC?
NEFC.
NEFC.
Yeah.
And NEFC is explicitly going in on that project with them, which would imply they might have some field needs. Like, I know we only have so much, but they're not going to have that field for a while. So do they know that we have that field available if they're ever squeezed? I'm just thinking if we want to increase our hours.
Yeah. Yeah. And the other thing too is, ultimately I'd hate to see if they start to siphon off some youth soccer usage. That's the other thing. I know I mentioned that to them. They said they had 1 day a week open, but that's the other thing to think about. But
I think that's down the road a little bit too. I think we both kind of had the same impression there. Like, I think Southborough would stick with us.
Yeah, I think between youth soccer and youth lacrosse usage in the fall and the spring, I think we're going to be able to make that bond payment.
Okay.
I just don't see us growing that fund unless we go up a little bit per hour based off of the current usage. That's all.
What about in the summer? What kind of activity do we see in the summer?
There are a couple of camps that use it, but I think I talked a little bit to Don too about it. I think we can do a better job marketing that field in the summer. I think it could be used more for camps in the summer. And I think we can start reaching out to some of those users that might have used it in years past to see if they want to come back and use it. Maybe just try to reconnect a little bit, but I think we can do a better job marketing that field just to see if we can drum up some usage too, to try to get back to that 700 hour number that we used to have in 22.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just wanted to put that on your radar. That's all. And then in addition to that, in the next 3 or 4 years, that bond payment is going to go up from 50 to 60. So that's $10,000 extra that we have to come up with too for that bond payment.
Yeah.
But it might actually be a good time to look at 9/11. And then, there's 2 turf fields that weren't there when you put that in. Between Algonquin and then Faye, if they put that turf field in, might be a good time to look at the field in general.
As you said, you were going to look at the comparative pricing. I think you're going to find that you are lower than just about everywhere else. So, a $5 to $10 increase, this season starts to build it up so that you can be prepared in the future for the change. And then you definitely have to just make sure people know that we're open for business. It just, people may not be aware. And then, Faye probably has to jump through a bunch of hurdles to get a turf field in there. We know the town wasn't really interested in seeing that happen previously. So, we'll see what happens there. But in the meantime, sure, if there's a need to use the field, then great.
Yeah. So I'll keep everybody in loop. I should have some more concrete stuff for you for next meeting. But I just wanted to let you know.
Thank you. All right. So that brings us to meeting minutes from November 10th, which Travis sent out to everybody.
Do you need a motion to approve those minutes?
I'm just gonna pull it back up really quick. All right, a second. Roll call vote. Christine?
Yes.
John
Yep.
and Kristen's a yes.
I was gonna say, I said yes, right?
Yeah. I know that feeling. All right, our next date, which we do need one prior to January when things go to print. Obviously, I assume we're targeting post Christmas at this point. Actually, is that okay, Travis, or do you need us to squeeze something in before Christmas?
No. I think it's due on January 16th. So as long as we meet,
Okay.
if you guys want to meet in person too, I think we met in January last year in person. I know we haven't met in person since last January. So I mean, if that's something that it works in everybody's schedule,
I can.
I am traveling the week of the 11th. So if we can do the week of the 5th, I will be home.
I'm good anytime that week. Well, any day but Thursday.
I'm going to be in Wachusett on the 7th probably. So any day but Wednesday.
I could do any day, so whatever works.
Anyone have a preference between Monday or Tuesday?
Tuesday would be my preference.
Tuesday's good.
Tuesday, January 6th. Do we want to do it a little earlier since we're going to try in person? How does that work for people? Or do you need the 7 because you're coming from the office?
I could do earlier.
I can do earlier.
Great. 6:30, is that what we're thinking? Does that work for you, Travis? 6:30?
Yeah, of course. And then I'll try to. Dawn gave me some really good feedback on budgets, and I'll try to have that stuff ready to go for that day too.
And we all think if there's someone we can recruit to bring along.
Yeah, and we can talk about recruiting strategies for commission. I like it.
21 Highland, it'll be there.
Yes.
Perfect.
If that works out for you guys.
Yep. All right. Is there anything else before we break? All right. Well, if I don't talk to you guys, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy Hanukkah. I don't know what everyone celebrates. So.
Yeah. You as well.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holiday, guys. Thank you very much.
All right.
So, motion to end.
Yes. Seconded. So motion to adjourn at 8:42. Roll call vote. Christine?
Yes.
Dawn?
Yes.
Kristen's yes too. Thank you so much as always.
All right. Have
Thank
a
you,
good
Travis.
holiday.
Bye,
Happy holiday, guys.
Bye.